Srimad Bhagavatam Kathas. Lord Mandir. So today we will continue our lecture of Srimad Bhagavatam. 9 canto, chapter 6, the downfall of Subali Muni, and the last verse of the chapter, so verse 55. So I ask for the blessing of the senior devotee to give me a little bit of intelligence to speak something relevant, can purify my heart and help you in devotional service.
Only little bit?
A big blessing, I need big blessing. But maybe I will not carry it, it will be too heavy for me, so I ask for a little. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, Tatvapatyu Maharaja.
Tatvapatyu Maharaja.
Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim. Anviyutat prabhavena. Agnim Shantam Ivadli Chisha. Tasvapatyu Maharaja. Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim. Anviyustat prabhavena. Agnim Chantam Iva Chichaha. Tadvapatyu Maharaja. Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim. Anviyustat prabhavena. Agnim Chantam Hivadichisha. Tadvapatyu Maharaja. Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim. Anviyustat prabhavena. Agnim Chantam Hivachicha. You can say.
Tatvapatyu Maharaja. Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim. Anviyustat prabhavena. Agnim Chantam Hivachicha.
Tatvapatyu Maharaja. Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim. Anviyustat prabhavena. Agnim Chantam Hivachicha.
Tatvapatyu Maharaja. Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim. Anviyustat prabhavena. Agnim Shantam Hivarchicha.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Atashis.
Tatvapatyu Maharaja. Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim.
Nirikshyadyatmikim gatim.
Anvyustatra Bhavena
Anvyustatra Bhavena
Anim Santam Ivashisha
Agnim Shantam Vivashisha Tasvapatu Maharaja Nirishadhyatmikim Gatim Anvyustatra Bhavena Agnim Shantam Vivashisha.
Translation word for word. Shri Radha Parisisvara Mandir,
Jai.
Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki, Shri Nitaï Sexy Sutta Ki. Ta, all the wives of Subari,
Of the wives of Subari,
Svapatu,
Svapatu,
with their own husband,
with their own husband,
Maharaja,
Maharaja,
O King Parikshit,
O King Parikshit,
Niriksha, observing,
observing,
Adhyatmikim,
Adhyatmikim,
spiritual,
spiritual,
Gatim,
Gatim,
progress,
progress,
Anviyu, follow,
follow,
Tattavena,
Tattva
by the influence of their husband,
by the influence of the husband,
also they were unfit by the influence. Also they were unfit by the influence of their husband.
by the influence of their husband,
They also could go to the spiritual world.
also goes to the spiritual world.
Agnim,
Agnim,
the fire.
the fire,
Shantam,
Shantam,
completely merged.
completely merged.
Iva,
Iva,
light.
like
Achisha,
Achisha,
the flames.
the flames.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
O Maharaj Parikshit, by observing their husband progressing in spiritual existence, Subari Muni's wife were also able to enter the spiritual world by his spiritual power, just as the flame of a fire ceases when the fire is extinguished. So we can repeat the verse. O Maharaj Parikshit,
O Maharaj Parikshit,
by observing their husband progressing
by observing their husband progressing
in spiritual existence,
in spiritual existence,
Subari Muni's wives
Subari Muni's wives
were also able to enter
were also able to enter
the spiritual world
the spiritual world
by his spiritual power,
by his spiritual power,
just as the flames
just as the flames
of a fire cease
of fire cease
when the fire is extinguished.
when the fire is extinguished.
Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.32, Triyo Vaishya Tata Shudra Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. Women are not considered very powerful in following spiritual principles. But if a woman is fortunate enough to get a suitable husband who is spiritually advanced, and if she always engages in his service, she also gets the same benefit as her husband. Here it is clearly said that the wives of Subari Muni also enter the spiritual world by the influence of their husband. They were unfit, but because they were faithful followers of their husband, they also enter the spiritual world with him. Thus, a woman should be a faithful servant of her husband, and if the husband is spiritually advanced, the woman will automatically get the opportunity to enter the spiritual world. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 9th canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Fall Down of Subali Muni. Om Agyanatminandasya Gyanancha Shalakaya Shakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamaram Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sakdajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Radita Shri Vishakan Vitam Shah Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tatra Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Karpataru Vyacha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Shanasthana Hare Shrimati Bhakti Namaste Sarvati Devi Namo Krishna Shesha Shri Krishna Prabhupada, so in this verse we see one topic not easy to speak about. Why I have this verse to speak, I don't know. Krishna want to test me without preparation. So we can say that Prabhupada is a perfect acharya because he's preaching exactly what is in the Shastra, and he was not worried to say that the wife have to follow the husband and she will get spiritual benefits according to the husband advancement in spiritual life. And in same time, he also preached according to the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna said that all the living entities are equal. So woman is equal with men according to spiritual quality. On the spiritual platform, men and women are equal. So Prabhupada is, according to Shastra, is stating that on the material platform, the wife have all advantage to follow the husband and to get the benefits of the husband advancement. But in the same time, we should not say the women are not qualified for spiritual life, for example, or they are less than the men. On the material platform, according to Varnashram Dharma, we have certain rules to follow if we want to advance in spiritual life, to reach to the spiritual world. And this is why in the purport and in the teaching of Srila Prabhupada always stressed this fact that women have all advantage to follow their husband, and by following the husband it's easier, because often the mind of women are more disturbed than the mind of men. It's not always the case. We have men who are very disturbed mentally also. And nowadays, everything is mixed. So Prabhupada said, nowadays, everyone is born as a Shudra, according to scripture. Chaitanya Prabhu said it. And everyone is in a low level of consciousness, if there is no, if someone don't take shelter into the Guru and serve the Guru, we are all very low. So we are all not qualified for spiritual life actually. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada and spiritual master, by serving them we get some, we get the mercy, and by this mercy the mind can become more peaceful and more able to be engaged in the service of the Lord. So we should have this understanding that we are all equal. Vidya Vinaya Samprane, Brahmane Gavi Asmi, Shuni Shajvashva Pakecha, Pandita Samada Alshna. So we need to have this vision that every living entity are equal on spiritual platform, and this is what Krishna said. But if we want to advance in spiritual life, we have to follow this teaching given by Srila Prabhupada and the Acharya, to follow this system of Varnashram Dharma. And a man, if he need to be married, have to be married, and by the Grihastha life, by engaging in spiritual life, by serving the deities, by serving the spiritual master, they will advance in the spiritual life, and they can reach to the spiritual platform where they become free of the identification with the body. And by following this Varnashram Dharma, we can reach to the platform of spiritual life. And we see many examples of this in Srimad Bhagavatam, of a good combination between man and husband. And this just this verse was making think about the example of the chaste woman in the Srimad Bhagavatam, maybe the most chaste woman of Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you think about one Mataji woman who is very chaste to the husband and go to the spiritual world by following the husband? Do we have any idea? Okay, I was not thinking of this one.
A few days ago we read about
Archie and Prithvi.
Who?
Archie and Prithvi.
Chaman and
Gandhari. I was thinking of Gandhari because she did like this. She followed her husband and she jumped into the fire for following, getting the benefits of the husband. It's explained in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a example who show us that the woman can reach spiritual world by following the husband who is the representative of the spiritual master in the Grihastha ashram. And we have also to know that women can have the good quality to be very emotional, and it can be a good also a good thing in spiritual life. And for example, we see in one pastime this example when Krishna sent his friend to get some food when they was in Vrindavan, and when the friend of Krishna arrived to the wife of the Brahmana who was doing a yagya, they asked for some food, and the Brahmana was too busy with the yagya, the offering of food to Krishna in the yagya, and they didn't stop the yagya. But the woman, when they heard that Krishna wanted some food, because they have this tendency to be very emotional and to want to serve and to feed when someone is needed to be fed, they took all the all the fruits and who was there for the offering, and they brought to the friend of Krishna. So for feeding Krishna. So this shows us that there is good quality also in the fact to be born in the woman body, but you have to be properly engaged. And deity worship is, we see nowadays in ISKCON temple, mostly all the pujari are Matajis. And because this is a service with very attractive for the jiva who are in the Mataji body, because they have this tendency to want to feed Krishna, to serve Krishna, and often they are more attached to this service of deity worship. And by doing deity worship, we advance in spiritual life. So this is how a woman, by serving the husband, serving the deities, and by being faithful to the husband, they can progress in spiritual life. And the husband have to be fully, it's not that the husband will enjoy the submission of the woman. Both have to be there. A not unqualified husband is not, he will not be, how to say, he will not give any spiritual strength to the woman. It's not just that the woman have to serve and the husband just enjoy the relation with the woman. This is what we call Griya Medi, but not Grihastha. So the husband have to be very very strong in his spiritual life to guide the woman in this way. And if there is this good combination, man and woman advance in spiritual life together, and it will be very beneficial. So this is important to have this understanding. And nowadays, everything is mixed on the platform of Varna, Ashram. Everyone is more or less lost in this system. And we see like men who try to enjoy the woman but don't give any protection to the woman, women who try to control the husband and don't do any service for the husband. So this is not, it will not be beneficial in any case. Yesterday, the day before, I was distributing books, and I distributed books to one woman. Now, first I approached the woman was interesting, and after the man looked because he wanted to see what is it, and he was even more interesting, and he said, please give me some money. So nowadays like this, always a woman has the money to men. So the wife gave the money and he bought the books, and after I saw the woman chastising the man and say, why did you took the books? This money was for this or that, and they was quarreling one with another. So this shows that it's not at all, there is no rule, everything is ups and downs nowadays, because the proper relation between man and woman, the man is supposed to protect the woman, and the woman to serve faithfully the husband. But in this case, so the man was a little bit lost, he didn't really protect the wife, and the wife was chastising the husband. So this is one example, but in the street it's really often like this. And we see this relation between men and women is totally disturbed. So this is, it will not help you. it will not help us, and it comes to the point that because the relationship is not at all on the platform of spiritual advancement, it becomes on the platform of sense enjoyment. And when the relation is on this platform of sense enjoyment, after it gives some children who are unwanted, Varna Shankar, like it is said in Bhagavad Gita, at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, because the relationship will not be for getting good children, but just for enjoying ourselves. So we should be very careful. If someone wants to enter into this system of Grihastha, you have to be first qualified before. It's not that it's an easy path. And the proper system of Varnashram Dharma is that the man and the woman get trained before, and the man should be a good brahmachari who know how to control his senses, how to be master of the senses. And Prabhupada used to say that Grihastha or brahmachari, if they follow properly spiritual lives, they are both brahmachari. It's not a question who is in saffron and who is in white. Brahmachari means someone who is not just enjoying the relationship with a woman. And this is very instructive to see in this example. If we come more on the teaching of the whole chapter, we see that Subali Muni was so the main problem of Subali Muni was that he was trying to escape, like you Raja Renu explained yesterday in the class before, this escaping mentality. But we see at the opposite, the women are very faithful and they are not escaping. So in this situation, Subali Muni was escaping by trying to find shelter into the water of the Yamuna, try to being free of the tendency of enjoying relationship between man and woman or whatever sense enjoyment. He was a great yogi, was master of the sense at a certain limit, we can see. And he fall down because of this, all the stories we read. He saw this fish who was copulating, and by seeing this, he fall down. And after he married with his wife, and the wife was very faithful according to what we read, and followed the husband very properly. So this is how spiritual life should be. We should be very faithful, and we should not be unresponsible. We should know what is our responsibility in spiritual life. And this is not by escaping this responsibility that we will do any advancement in spiritual life. From the husband, from the wife, or brahmachari also, any one of us have some responsibility, and we should all know what is our responsibilities. If we try to escape, we will fall down as Subali Muni. And if we are really responsible and we focus all our mind and attention in following our responsibility, we can become more advanced in spiritual life, at least. So for a man who is married, his responsibility, like I said before, is to protect the woman. The woman should be serve the husband in his spiritual life, to help him in his service. And for a man who is not is not engaged in Grihastha ashram, he have also responsibility. And the main responsibility of a brahmachari is to, so what are the main responsibility of a brahmachari? I let you.
Preaching.
Preaching? Okay.
Service.
Serve the spiritual master, as Krishna showed in his own example. He showed it when he was serving the spiritual master.
Is it not the duty of every ashram to preach?
So it's true that it's a responsibility of every ashram to preach, because this is Lord Chaitanya movement. So we all have this responsibility to preach, and Prabhupada asked to everyone to preach. So it's true that we are all supposed to preach. But the Grihastha, he also have to maintain his Griya, his ashram. And to maintain the Grihashram just by book distribution, you can try, but it is not very good also. It's very difficult. We had some example with Ekanath of someone in Lyon who tried to be a little bit escaping his duty and not his husband is engaged in Grihastha ashram with children, and when he saw us studying, distributing books and chanting and doing all this activity, he started to do the same thing and to not bring any money to the ashram. He did it for 1 year, something like this. And we was always repeating to him, your duty as a Grihastha is to work and bring money to your Griya. But he was not listening. He wanted to study the book, distribute books, and whatever. There is no loss in this path, but his situation became more and more difficult in his Griya. And after 1 year, he started to send us message to say, now Krishna Consciousness is finished, I want to start again to work and bring money to our ashram. And we said to him, since the beginning we said you, this is your responsibility as a Grihastha to do this. But he was not listening. So we have to see if you can only by this activity of preaching maintain your Griya, you can do it. You can, but it's not very easy, and it's not fully recommended. So for Grihastha ashram, mainly they will work, and on their free time they can preach. But the brahmachari is, we can say, his work is to study the books, learn the book, understand the philosophy, imbibe the philosophy, digest this philosophy, live this philosophy, and preach this philosophy. So this is a little bit different. But for sure, everyone has to preach, because this is the movement of Lord Chaitanya. And if we are intelligent, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, we will do this Sankirtan Yaga. Yajanti Auti. Krishna Panam Krishna. Yagya is Sankirtan, Yajanti is Sumedasa. I'm really bad for quoting verse. So in this verse, it is said that Isumedasa, people who have a fine intelligence, they will do Sankirtan Yaga. So everyone who have a little bit of intelligence should do Sankirtan Yaga. But we should not forget what our responsibility are according to the Sva Dharma. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is explained there is two types of Dharma. There is the Sva Dharma, the Dharma according to our conditionment in this body. So for Grihastha, for example, man, his duty will be to protect the wife, so to bring some money and educate the children into Krishna consciousness, and the wife will be to help the husband in this activity. And so this is the Svadharma for Grihastha. For a brahmachari, his Svadharma will be to maintain the body, because we have to maintain our health first, and to study the book, imbibe the philosophy, and this is the material, we can say, the Svadharma according to the body. But after there is the Sanatan Dharma with the duty of the soul, not according just to the body but to the soul. And according to the soul, the duty of all of us is to preach this Krishna consciousness. So whatever you are, Grihastha or you are brahmachari, in any case, if you want to keep going in spiritual life, you have to do some preaching, otherwise you lose all the taste for spiritual life. Because we get this taste of spiritual life by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and the spiritual master, and the main desire is that this Krishna consciousness is spread all over the world. So we have to know these two dharma and to act according to these two dharma. And by doing this, we will be fully satisfied, and we will be, so it will be pleasing for the spiritual master and Krishna, and we will be fully satisfied. So this is something we can learn from this example with Subali Muni and the wife of Subali Muni. So, sorry, I didn't prepare anything, so I just said a few words like this. This is what I could learn from this. So if you want something, add something or comment something, ask question or correct, please, Krishna Krita.
Seems like although Subali Muni was trying to renounce the world and become a complete yogi, he was fully aware of the Varnashram system. So like when he had these sexual desires, he knew, oh, okay, I have to get married. And then he did the Grihastha ashram properly because he remembered the last duty of the Grihastha, which is to get out of the Grihastha ashram and go on to Vanaprastha, which some people forget, but Jayaveda Swami was always reminding them of. That's part of the program, and he understood that, and when the time was right, he did that. And his wives also understood it was part of the program for them to follow him. So there's a lot of good example of acting according to Vaishnava of Varnashram in that Leela. Although in the beginning he was just started to try to just renounce everything. So that's one point. I run into different grihasthas in my travels, and I hear about a few cases of people actually maintaining their families by book distribution, actually. One time I was in Ireland, and there was this man and wife, and he had a kid, a fairly young kid, like 1 or 2 years old. And he said when he got married, he decided he'd have to get a job to maintain himself. So he got this job, and he found that he had didn't have time to hardly ever go to the temple. He didn't have hardly any time to read. He had just enough time to chant his 16 rounds. After a year, he decided that he didn't like that life. So he decided to see if he could maintain himself by doing book distribution. And then he found out that he could go to the temple, he could read, and he got just enough money to live, and he was a lot happier. So I saw him in the summer in Ireland, and then during the Kartik, I was in Vrindavan, and there he was with his wife and kid in Vrindavan. I was saying, how is it that you're able to bring all your whole family to Vrindavan and you're just selling books? And he said, oh, our temple president wanted somebody to do shopping for the deities, so.
He got the mercy of Krishna.
And then another time I was on the Slovenian Padayatra, I met this guy named Hare Krishna Das from Italy. And he said when he was a Grihastha, he lived in a town of 5,000. And he would go out and do books from 9 to 2 every day. And he had a map of the town on his wall, and he would during the year he would have certain regions, and every once in a while he'd go through the whole town, and then he'd start again and then go through the whole town. And people knew him because they kept running into him, and he was able to maintain his family, and he just did those 5 hours of book distribution.
Wow.
So it's not impossible. There are cases.
With the Canad, we was living in Lyon for 1 year and a half. We was maintaining everything by book distribution, and we maintained it, but you should not be lazy.
Yeah.
It's not, should I go, should I not go? Should I go, should I not? No, you have to go every day, and every day you have to distribute, and you know that you have to bring some money at the end of the day. And Krishna arranged that you will get some also, maybe some donation. We always, because the devotee was happy that we was doing this, so some devotee was sending us some money, and we could maintain. Like this couple, they went to Vrindavan to get some paraphernalia, because Krishna likes so much that you do this, so he will help you, but you have to take some risk at the beginning, and you have to know that it will not be easy. This is what I was meaning. It's not that, okay, I'm doing just 2 hour day of books and it's okay. No, you have to work like, it become like your job. And people who work outside, they don't work 1 or 2 hours a day. They work a lot, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours a day. So you have to know that if you want to maintain your ashram by books, you have to take it as a job, and it will not be easy. But it's possible. It's possible. Thank you for your comment. Yeah.
There's one other person, you know that Arjuna Krishna from Russia. He said that he used to have a job, but at a certain point he stopped and he just did Harinam after that. And I don't know how he survived by just doing Harinam.
He has 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God.
At least 4.
They are working maybe.
Do you have any clue how he survived?
He's maintained by his kids.
Also, I know many couples, but they are selling prasadam on the streets, cookies or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's also like
It's also.
something direct service to Krishna, which you have to do with
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah, in
Maybe
Dublin.
it's more visible. It's plus réalisable peut-être,
Yeah.
plus facile.
In Dublin, there was a couple. They lived near the island, the island we have in Ireland, the imagery, and they would I think they take off Monday, and they take off Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday they'd make samosas and they would sell them in Dublin on the weekends, and they'd sell 500 samosas for €5 each or something, or no, 200. They made 2,000 euros a weekend basically selling samosas for
So in this case, you enter in little bit different than preaching Krishna consciousness. I mean, it's also preaching by selling prasadam. But if you start to sell incense and painting and things like this, it's a little bit different. And for us, we asked for in Lyon if we should do that to Janda Goswami. And he said us no. He said, for brahmachari, you have to keep to maintain by this activity of distributing the knowledge, not distributing some incense and painting and like this. He said in the past in ISKCON, many did that, but it's all fall down after sometimes. So you can do it, but you become a Vaishya, and it's a different mentality. You see, it's not the same as distributing books. If it's not possible to maintain yourself by books, it's good to sell prasadam or incense or painting, and many devotees are doing like this. We have Adiguru, for example, he's selling incense. I don't know all about his business, but so there's different level we can say.
I have a question. According to the verse, the wife should come into the fire with the husband. If that happened today, what's gonna be the reaction?
Actually, in India it was a big problem. This and they were saying it should be stopped. This what's the name of this? Sati. Okay. So this sati was a woman jumping in the fire. It had to be stopped because it should be done properly also. And nowadays there is no real. Maybe that's a paranoid becoming.
It was voluntarily.
You have to be voluntary. Yes, exactly.
The wife used to love the husband so much that she cannot afford to live without him. So she chose to jump into the fire. Not that people forcing her to.
Yeah, the problem, the deterioration of this is that after it was like a rule, like a religious rule, principle, and even sometimes they will be forced to jump into the fire without their own decision. Like to accept a spiritual master and to follow a spiritual master is not forced into someone. You have to be voluntary. The decision of the person to follow. In the same way, the wife to follow the husband in the fire have to be a choice, and because otherwise the man will not be there, and the destination of the woman will not be the destination of the husband. If she jump in the fire, when she think, oh, my co-husband, I would like to have a relation with my co-husband, she takes birth again. Nowadays, women have to be really faithful, and she cannot live anymore without the husband. Her mind is totally absorbed, and to the husband, she cannot even think about living without the husband, and she jumped into the fire by thinking to surrendering and to the husband, not forcing. But it was a big problem in India.
But now women are forced not to jump. So this is actually the Kali Yuga mentality. It's just fake freedom.
Because
it's just cheating, actually. Although Shastra prohibits to do it. Ashvamedha Goalabdam Sanyasam Palapaitika was that Devarena Sutot Patim Kalau Panchi Varjayat. Just according to Shastra it's prohibited. But the reason why it's prohibited now is false. It's just a way to manipulate the society. They say no, women have to, may do it voluntarily. How do you define voluntarily? Because even if nobody tells her to do that, she knows that if she doesn't do that, she will not be able to survive. Because in the Indian villages, women, they are absolutely dependent on their husbands. And we cannot say she did it voluntarily or non-voluntarily, because the circumstances, and it's hard to define. Therefore, it's not the way to define whether she did it voluntarily or not. Like when my father died, my mother, she was ready to do it. Simply because they lived for 47 years together, and she couldn't imagine herself living without him. But nowadays people take these things like sati and others, and they just put it in such a wrong way, just to get the votes, basically. Because in India it was prohibited simply because of the politics. Simply because the Congress party was, wanted to get more votes, that's it. It's called populistic measures. It's not, there is no any common sense around that. Just wanted to point out one thing from the commentary. It's very important. If you can scroll down, Prabhupada is making very important point at the very end. He says that, thus a woman will automatically get the opportunity to enter to the spiritual world. This word opportunity is very important. It's not that automatically you go to the spiritual world if you are following your husband or your guru even. Like I heard from the woman from Maharaj once, he said, what this automatically means that you get the ticket for the flight, but it's up to you whether you use it or not. So that's the point. You can automatically means that you get the opportunity automatically. Okay, you get it. Like you're a disciple of such and such guru. Okay, you have the opportunity. But whether you use it or not, that's your responsibility now. So they made their choice. That's important. It's not that they were, and actually this verse doesn't say about sati at all. It doesn't say that they went into the fire. It says that they followed him just like the flames go into the fire, which means that when the fire is extinguished, there's no flames. It kind of went the same way. So it may be a metaphorical way to say that they did sati, but it's not necessarily in fact. Because this is where the meaning of sati is stressed. It's not that it's not important whether they did it or not. What is important is that they followed him. They might have done and might have not. Like, what was the name of this Kunti's co-wife? Madri. She did it, and Kunti didn't do that. But it doesn't mean that Kunti was not chaste when Pandu died. Right? So Madri did it. Anyways, I'm just a few
The
points.
situation was a little different because they have to bring up their children. Then they decided who can go.
Yeah, that's another thing. No, but what's important is that word opportunity. So we should not put everything like, not make it automatical, not make it mechanical. So the spiritual progress is not mechanical. It's about getting opportunities and using them.
So it's a good example that you get the ticket, but this is your choice to use it. If you follow husband, you follow the guru, so he give you the ticket, but the ticket have to still to be used. Depend on choice, personal choice and responsibility. Thank you for this comment. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jump to the Srimad Bhagavatam Kathas.
It's praised by Nitaï Prabhu ki
Jai.